Today I'm going over this section in chapter 13 called From Perception to Knowledge. All healing is a release from the past. That is why the Holy Spirit is the only healer. He teaches that the past does not exist, a fact which belongs to the sphere of knowledge, and which therefore no one in the world can know. It would indeed be impossible to be in the world with this knowledge, for the mind that knows this unequivocally knows also it dwells in eternity and utilizes no perception at all. It therefore does not consider where it is, because the concept where does not mean anything to it. It knows that it is everywhere, just as it has everything and forever. Jesus is reminding us again about how the past does not exist. This is an ego construct to keep us out of the present moment where the truth is. And this whole world is based off of a false belief of something that we believe that we did in the past. And since the past does not exist and we need healing from our belief in it, that's why he's telling us that Holy Spirit is the only healer. And remember, Holy Spirit is the voice for God or the memory of God within our dream. And the only reason we're having this dream is because our mind is sick. It is split. It needs healing. And Holy Spirit is the only way to heal that sick and split mind, to wake us up from this false dream that we are having and return our mind home to where it already is, but we forgot. And he's telling us that understanding that the past does not exist belongs to the sphere of knowledge, which therefore no one in the world can know. This sphere of knowledge is our truth, our home, heaven, this state of oneness where we really are. And anyone who is believing in this world would never know that truth, is not in that sphere of knowledge. If we're believing in the world, we forgot about that sphere of knowledge, which is our truth, our home. And that's why we need Holy Spirit to help us to remember. He's telling us that our mind knows who and what we really are, dwelling in eternity, and that when we are there, there is no use for perception because we're home. We don't need to perceive. Perception is only a tool for us to use within this dream as long as we're dreaming. And as long as we forgot our truth, we need perception to heal. We need perception to remember our truth, to perceive with spirit and not with the ego. That is the tool that we use to awaken. But once we're home and we're fully awakened, perception is gone. There's no need for it. There's just knowledge. It therefore does not consider where it is, because the concept where does not mean anything to it. It knows that it is everywhere, just as it has everything and forever. That is our truth. But when we're believing the ego's perception, we're not seeing that truth. We're not perceiving that truth. And therefore, we don't know that truth. We are non-local beings having a local experience. That's why the concept of where does not mean anything to our true self, because there is no where. We are everywhere and everything all at once, forever. The very real difference between perception and knowledge becomes quite apparent if you consider this. There is nothing partial about knowledge. Every aspect is whole, and therefore no aspect is separate. You are an aspect of knowledge, being in the mind of God. Who knows you? All knowledge must be yours, for in you is all knowledge. Perception, at its loftiest, is never complete. Even the perception of the Holy Spirit, as perfect as perception can be, is without meaning in heaven. Perception can reach everywhere under his guidance. For the vision of Christ beholds everything in light. Yet no perception, however holy, will last forever. In this next paragraph, he's explaining the difference between perception and knowledge. And he's telling us that knowledge can never be partial. See, perception is partial. It's not telling us the whole truth. And we can perceive either with ego or spirit. But knowledge, he's saying, is not partial, it's total, and every aspect of it is whole, because that's what we are, whole and complete with one another and with God. There is no separation in the truth of who we are. We are in the mind of God, and therefore God knows exactly who we are. God created us. And he's explaining that perception, even at its loftiest, is never complete. Only knowledge is complete. And he's saying even the perception of Holy Spirit, as perfect as perception can be, is without meaning in heaven. Why would that be? Because Holy Spirit only exists within the dream. There's no need for Holy Spirit in heaven, because there is knowledge. There we are complete. Holy Spirit is only needed in the false dream to help us return our mind home. Perception can reach everywhere under the guidance of Holy Spirit, because Christ, which is who and what we really are, we are all the one innocent child of God. But no perception, he's saying, no matter how holy, will last forever. Again, the reason for this is because perception is temporary, because our belief in this world is temporary. Remember, waking up is assured. We're all doing it. Why? Because it's already over. It already happened. We already returned home. We're just dreaming that we didn't. Perception doesn't last forever because the dream doesn't last forever. Perception only lasts as long as we are having this dream. Perfect perception, then, has many elements in common with knowledge, making transfer to it possible. Yet the last step must be taken by God, because the last step in your redemption, which seems to be in the future, was accomplished by God in your creation. The separation has not interrupted it. Creation cannot be interrupted. The separation is merely a faulty formulation of reality with no effect at all. The miracle without a function in heaven is here. Aspects of reality can still be seen, and they will replace aspects of unreality. Aspects of reality can be seen in everything and everywhere. Yet only God can gather them together by crowning them as one with the final gift of eternity. So perception's only for this dream, and perfect perception is as close as we can get to knowledge, but it's still not the same. But it's making the transfer from perception to knowledge possible. It's like the bridge that takes our mind from a false belief to the truth. He's telling us that the last step needs to be taken by God. So we keep perceiving correctly. That's our job, to keep perceiving with spirit. And as we get closer and closer and closer to this perfect perception, which is that bridge that leads us home, it's God that takes that final step to bring us into heaven. Because now we're ready. We have prepared our mind to return home. And he's telling us that this last step, which seems to be in the future, but really it's already over because it already happened, he's saying was accomplished by God in our creation. He's saying that the separation has not interrupted anything. We're just having a dream that it did. But really it had no effect. We've always been who we truly are. We've always been one with God in heaven. We're just having a silly little dream that we're not. That's why he's saying the separation is merely a faulty formulation of reality. It's us pretending that this is our reality. But he's saying it has no effect at all on reality. And he's telling us that aspects of our reality can be seen everywhere. That's where perception comes into play. If we can perceive spirit, if we can perceive the truth within our dream, this is what allows us to awaken to knowledge. Apart from the Father and the Son, the Holy Spirit has no function. He is not separate from either, being in the mind of both. Right? That's Holy Spirit's job. It's the tether back home to heaven. Holy Spirit knows what our truth is, knows what heaven is, but Holy Spirit also knows that we're having this dream and is here with us in this dream to heal our mind so that we can awaken. So he's not separate from either, being in the mind of both and knowing that the mind is one. He is a thought of God, and God has given him to you because he has no thoughts he does not share. His message speaks of timelessness in time. And that is why Christ's vision looks on everything with love. Yet even Christ's vision is not his reality. The golden aspects of reality that spring to light under his loving gaze are partial glimpses of the heaven that lies beyond them. So Holy Spirit, being the voice for God or the memory of God within our dream, is just a thought of God's. And he's saying that he has no thoughts that he does not share. Sharing means practicing forgiveness, knowing the truth, seeing that reality within the dream. And his message speaks of timelessness in time. Time only exists within this world, within the false illusory dream. Holy Spirit, being the memory of God, is timeless because our truth is timeless. So Holy Spirit is functioning in both worlds, the false world and the true world. Christ's vision looks upon everything with love. That's what we're doing when we're practicing forgiveness, when we're identifying with Christ consciousness, which is that wholeness, that oneness, that love, seeing everyone as the innocent child of God. That's Christ consciousness. But he's saying even that is just a tiny glimpse of our reality. So perceiving correctly in this world, identifying with Christ consciousness, practicing forgiveness, this gives us little glimpses of heaven, little glimpses of our reality. But we're not going to experience the full effect until we awaken. And that happens by us practicing perceiving correctly over and over and over again. And then God takes that last step to bring us home, to fully awaken our mind from perception to knowledge. This is the miracle of creation, that it is one forever, he writes in italics. So we are all one forever. Nothing ever changes that. Every miracle you offer to the Son of God is but the true perception of one aspect of the whole. So here we seem to be separate beings, but when we perceive correctly with spirit, seeing Christ everywhere, that is how we are offering true perception to the whole. We appear to be separate, a separate fragment, but by perceiving correctly, now we're offering the truth to the wholeness of who we all are. Though every aspect is the whole, you cannot know this until you see that every aspect is the same, perceived in the light and therefore one. That's practicing forgiveness, seeing everyone is the same. We are all the innocent child of God. We are all one. Everyone seen without the past thus brings you nearer to the end of time by bringing healed and healing sight to the darkness and enabling the world to see. For light must come into the darkened world to make Christ's vision possible even here. Help him to give his gift of light to all who think they wander in darkness, and let him gather them into his quiet sight that makes them one. So those who think that they wander in darkness is all of us when we are identifying with the ego. And all these beautiful words that I just read describe practicing forgiveness, seeing everyone and everything in that light, the light of Christ, knowing that we are all the innocent child of God. We are all the same. When we do that, we are bringing the light to the wholeness. We are helping ourselves and everyone else to awaken because all minds are joined unconsciously. We are whole. We're just having a dream that we are separate. They are all the same, all beautiful and equal in their holiness. Yes, we are. We are all the same. We are all equal. We are all one. and he will offer them unto his Father as they were offered unto him. There is one miracle, and there is one reality. And every miracle you do contains them all. And every aspect of reality you see blends quietly into the one reality of God. So here in this world, we have all this separation. We think there's different people. We think there's different increments of time. We think there's different places. But that is all false perception. And the more we practice correct perception, perceiving with Holy Spirit, each time we do that, that is the miracle. And he's saying every time we have that miracle, that one little miracle contains all the miracles because it's all a dream and there's only one of us. That's why he's saying that every aspect of reality that we think that we see is quietly blending into the one reality of God. As we continue to practice forgiveness and perceive correctly, we are quietly awakening our mind to that one reality. But in the meantime, while we think we're here, we are practicing with all of these separate things that we think we see. The only miracle that ever was is God's most holy Son. That's us. Created in the one reality that is his Father. Christ's vision is his gift to you, his being his Father's gift to him. So he's reminding us of our one truth, and that truth is a gift to us. Be you content with healing, for Christ's gift you can bestow, and your Father's gift you cannot lose. So we can bestow Christ's gift by practicing forgiveness, and we cannot lose our Father's gift because we will never lose our reality. It will never go away. Think of our reality as the sun, and this dream we're having is just a cloud that appears to have covered the sun, but the sun's not really gone, it's still there. We're just not perceiving it. We're not seeing it because we've covered it with the darkness of our belief in the ego's false world. Offer Christ's gift to everyone and everywhere, for miracles offered to the Son of God through the Holy Spirit attune you to reality. He's talking about practicing forgiveness. The more we do it, the more we're tuning in to our reality, to the frequency of our truth, of God and heaven. The Holy Spirit knows your part in the redemption and who are seeking you and where to find them. Right? So that's why when we use Holy Spirit within our dream to tell us where to go, what to do, what to say, then we are taking the fastest track possible to awakening, because Holy Spirit knows how to use our avatar ego self to help the one us awaken. Knowledge is far beyond your individual concern, right? Because our individual concern is coming from our belief that we are a separate ego. You who are part of it and all of it need only realize that it is of the Father, not of you. See, that's our whole problem. That's why we think we're an ego, because we wanted to be the boss. We wanted to be separate from God. That's why he's saying we only need to realize that it's of the Father, not of us. Because when we think it's of us, that's where all the fear and panic comes in. Because then we're like, oh no, we destroyed God in heaven. We're never going to be able to get back. We're always going to be stuck here being separate and alone. But it's not true. That's why we need to use perception to perceive our truth. And eventually that awakens us to knowledge, which means we've returned our mind home. Your role in the redemption leads you to it by re-establishing its oneness in your mind. Another way of saying practice perceiving correctly, practice forgiveness. When you have seen your brothers as yourself, you will be released to knowledge, having learned to free yourself through him who knows of freedom. True freedom is of God. True freedom is giving our mind over to Holy Spirit to awaken us to God in heaven, to return our mind home. That is true freedom. Perceiving that we are here in this world of separation is prison. And when he's talking about seeing our brothers as ourselves, he's talking about practicing forgiveness. Unite with me under the holy banner of his teaching. And as we grow in strength, the power of God's Son will move in us, and we will leave no one untouched and no one left alone. Why is that? Because we're not alone. We are whole. We are all one. So as we appear to awaken in our own individual avatar body, we're actually awakening our one mind that we share with everyone. And suddenly time will be over, and we will all unite in the eternity of God the Father. That's us returning home to heaven. That's what will happen when our mind awakens. Time will no longer exist because time is false. The holy light you saw outside yourself in every miracle you offered to your brothers will be returned to you. That's practicing forgiveness. And knowing that the light is in you, your creations will be there with you as you are in your Father. So the more we practice forgiveness, which means overlooking the false world to see the truth, seeing Christ everywhere, that's us following the light, perceiving the light within the dream of darkness, and this is how we return home. As miracles in this world join you to your brothers, so do your creations establish your fatherhood in heaven. You are the witnesses to the fatherhood of God, and He has given you the power to create the witnesses to your fatherhood in heaven. The miracle that God creates is perfect, as are the miracles that you established in His name. They need no healing, nor do you when you accept them. Another way of saying that God is perfect, heaven is perfect, we are perfect. And if we perceive that perfection here within the crazy illusory world where there is no perfection, but if we look beyond the false to see the true, which is the perception, this is how we awaken. This is how we return home to our Father, to God. Yet in this world, your perfection is unwitnessed. God knows it, but you do not. And so you do not share His witness to it. So that's us hiding in the darkness, believing in darkness, believing the ego's perception. And so that's why He's saying when we're doing this, we don't know our truth, but God knows it. Nor do you witness unto Him, for reality is witnessed to as one. God weights your witnesses to His Son and to Himself. The miracles you do on earth are lifted up to heaven and Him. They witness to what you do not know. And as they reach the gates of heaven, God will open them. For never would He leave His own beloved Son outside them and beyond Himself. More beautiful poetic words to talk about practicing forgiveness, perceiving correctly, and as we continue to do that, eventually Holy Spirit will help us to return our mind home where we will have only knowledge.